Azure AZ 900 practice test. This is the first practice test for the Azure Fundamentals course. The question number one, which of the following statement is true? To achieve a hybrid cloud model, a company must always migrate from private cloud model. And the second option is a company can extend the capacity of internal network by using the public cloud. And third option is in a public cloud model, only guest users at your company can access the resources in the cloud. So 1 and 3 seems incorrect, and the answer is a company can extend the capacity of its internal network by using the public cloud. So that's true statement. Um, the first one is incorrect because it's not always necessary to move from the private cloud to the hybrid cloud. You can also move the public cloud to the hybrid cloud. So that option is incorrect. And the third one is also incorrect because in the public cloud model, it's not only guest users, it can also consider the employee of the organization, employee of the company can also be involved, can access the resources of the computer. It's not just guest user itself. So the second one is correct answer. Company needs additional resources. It can go for the public cloud deployment and can extend the internal network. So this question is on the cloud model. You have public cloud, private cloud, hybrid cloud. So if you understand that concept, then answering this question is easy. Basically, the third one is completely unrelated and out of this context. Now, this is the second question. Which of the following statements are true? Azure resources can only access other resources in the same region. If you delete the resource group, all the resources in the resource group can be deleted. A resource group can contain resources from multiple Azure regions. So Azure resources can only access resources in the same resource group. That's not true. You can access the resources um, from the other resource groups also. So the second and third is correct. If you delete, because the resource group maintain the hierarchy, it actually logical, maintain the group for logically maintain all the services within that group. Therefore, if you delete the resource group, all the resources within that resource group can also be deleted. So that's true. And also can contain the resources from multiple Azure regions. So you can spin up one resource from East US and other resource from West US in the same resource group. So when you try to create the Azure resources, you will see the drop down option selecting the same resource group, but you can see the different Azure regions for creating the resource group. So the definition, you need to understand what is the resource group here. Resource group is a collection of Azure resources for specified requirements. So is nothing but a logical container for all the resources in an Azure subscription. So you can have more than one resource group based on your need, and pretty much normally for each project we normally create a separate resource group. So I'm not talking about the best practices, but that's all about the resource group. So the first option is incorrect because you can access resources from different resource group also. Question number 3, your company has an on-premise network that contains multiple servers. The company plans to reduce the following administrative responsibility of the network administrator. Now, we are talking about moving on-premise networks into the Azure. So the company plans to migrate several servers to the Azure virtual machines from on-premise. You need to identify which administrative responsibility will be reduced after planned migration. Now we are talking about migrating the servers from on-premise into the Azure. When you migrate, what you are going to actually save. So basically, the effort, the network administrative responsibility is going to be saved. The network administrative responsibilities, including replacing failed server hardware. That's true. And then backup of your application data. That's the application owner responsibility. So that is not the correct answer. Managing physical server security. So once you move the services from on-premise to Azure, managing physical servers is a cloud service provider responsibility, not the application owner responsibility. So you will be saving this when you are migrating to the Azure. So that's the correct answer. Updating server operating systems, pretty much if you are spinning up the VMs, you can upgrade anytime. That's the owner of the applications. Services will be taking care. So the answer is replacing failed server hardware and managing physical server capacity. So these are the two responsibilities that can be saved. The last one is managing permissions to share documents. So that is again the owner of the service will be taking care of, not the cloud service provider. So 1 and 3 are the answers. Question number 4, which of the following statement is true? If you have Azure resources deployed to every region, you can implement availability zones in all the regions. So this is not true because the availability zones are some of the regions like you have the US government region, so you can't enter into that zone. So you can't forget about creating the additional resources in that area. So that's not true. Only virtual machines that run Windows operating system can be created in available zones. So talking about only Windows Server, that's not true. So you can have Ubuntu and Linux operating systems also. Availability zones are used to replicate the data and applications to multiple regions. Availability zones um, used to replicate the data. So the replicating the data and applications to the multiple regions, I think that's not correct. So option 1 we talked about because there are some restricted regions specially allocated to US government. So you cannot enter into those regions and you cannot spin up any resources there. The types of VMs in Azure, you can have Windows, Ubuntu, and Linux and all kind of operating systems you can. So here it is talking about only Windows. That's not true. By default, availability zones in Azure is used for replicating the applications and the data within the Azure region only. This is done to ensure that the high availability. So this is availability zones are used to replicate data and applications for multiple regions. So that is not true. The answer is none of these statements. Question number 5. You plan to deploy a critical line of business application to Azure. The application will run on Azure Virtual Machine. Okay. You need to recommend a deployment solution. The solution must guarantee ability of 99.99%. That is the SLA we are looking for. Minimum how many number of virtual machines you need. So we need at least 2 virtual machines to meet the 99.99 SLA percentage. Either you spin up 2 or 3 or 4, it doesn't matter. It's going to be the same SLA. So I will go with the minimum, that is 2. You cannot have only 1. Question number 6. Which of the following statement is true? Azure Advisor provides the recommendations on how to improve the security of the Azure Active Directory. Azure Advisor will not provide the security of the Azure Active Directory. Azure Advisor provides the recommend that isn't, the first one is incorrect. Azure Advisor provides the recommendations on how to reduce the cost of running the Azure virtual machines. That seems correct. it will recommend the reducing the cost of running virtual machines. Let's see the last one. Azure Advisor provides recommendations on how to configure the network settings on the Azure virtual machines. Network configuration is service owner responsibility, not Azure Advisor will not recommend and will not know what network security are required, especially if you are looking for NSG or firewall. Those kind of things are controlled by the application owner. So Azure Advisor will not know that information. So the second one seems to be correct. That is right. Azure Advisor does not give a recommendations the configuration of the network information. That's right. Now, next question is, you create a resource group. The name is RG1 in the Azure Resource Manager. You need to prevent the deletion of resource group RG1. So in order to prevent deletion of the resources in the Azure, you will be locking those resources. This feature pretty much used once you decide that your code is stable, your services are stable in the Azure, and you want to lock it. Make sure that the resources are all not altered by the other uh, resources or other developers. So you will use the lock feature, and there are plenty of options here: quick start, resource cost, deployments, policies, properties, locks, and export templates. These are all the options you will see on the left navigation of the Azure portal. If you know what is the definition of each of these properties, then you will be able to take the right decision here. Now the answer is locks. Now let's understand what are these options. Pretty much the quick start uses the SDK to build app and use the scalable cloud resources, and it will also help some documentation. Resource cost, the name implies that it gives the accumulated cost of the Azure resource based on the use. And here the deployments, you will get the list of all the deployment activities under the deployment property. Policies are related to the compliance and details. So you can set up the policy to restrict as per the company guidelines. Properties pretty much give the details of that particular resource. And when lock be applied resource group level, then resources in that resource are prevented from deletion. So that's the answer we are looking for. Export template is exporting the RM template of the resource. So that's not related to that question. Question 8, your company plans to migrate all the data and resources to Azure. The company migration plan states that only platform as a service must be used in Azure. You need to deploy Azure environment that supports the planned migration. So now you need to know platform as a service, infrastructure as a service, and software as a service, so that then you will be able to answer this question. So you create Azure App Service, Azure virtual machines that have Microsoft SQL Server installed. So Azure App Services and Azure Virtual Machine. So here it's not talking about the SQL Server directly, it is actually the virtual machine. So if you look at the big picture of the Azure services, you will know Azure services comes under the PaaS, but virtual machines comes under the IaaS. The answer is no. Again, the similar question, you plan to migrate all your data, all its data and resources to the Azure. So looking for the PaaS solution, you need to deploy the Azure environment that supports the planned migration. So here the resources are App Service and Azure Storage Account. So App Service is the PaaS, but the Azure Storage Account is not the PaaS. So Azure Storage Account is the IaaS service. So the answer is no. So to answer this question, you need to understand what resources belongs to which category. Let's quickly review this picture. Security and management all your Azure portal, Active Directory, multi-factor authentication, automation and key vault, store marketplace, VM image gallery, and VM report. So these are all comes under the security management. Again, this is the platform as a service. So your compute section, cloud services, service fabric, and batch and remote apps, it all comes under the compute. Again, web and mobile apps, you have web app, API app, and API management, mobile app, logic app, notification hub, and then regular developer services like Visual Studio, Visual Studio Code, all that comes here. Azure SDK, application insights, now your VSTS team projects, then hybrid operations, integration operations, then analytics and IoT. So if you know this big picture with all these services, at least the definition of each and every service, then you'll be pretty much able to understand, answer some of the questions. So directly coming into the question, here the question number 8 is Azure storage account. If you look at the Azure storage account, the blob storage, files, these are all comes under the infrastructure as a service, just like the virtual machines or the previous question. All these containers also comes under the infrastructure as a service. Your VNet, virtual network, LB, DNS, ER, and then traffic manager, VPN gateway, application gateway. All these network components also comes under the infrastructure as a service. Let's move on to the next question. Question number 10. You have on-premise network that contains 100 servers, probably 100 VMs. So you need to recommend a solution that provides additional resources to your users. The solution must minimize the capital and operational expenditure. So you need to understand OPEX and COPEX concept to answer this question. What should you include in the recommendation? Now, a complete migration to the public cloud, complete migration is pretty much increasing the cost. We are talking about minimizing you must minimize the capital, CAPEX and OPEX. So complete migration to the public cloud is not the right option. An additional data center, building the additional data center significantly increase the cost. A private cloud, setting up on-premise data center is again the expensive, and hybrid cloud. So the answer seems to be hybrid cloud. It is hybrid cloud because it minimizes the capital expenditure. So this question is in between. You also need to know the difference between private, public, hybrid clouds, and also the CapEx and OpEx concepts. So the hybrid cloud, where you already have some resources, now we are moving into the Azure. So that's the picture. That's where the hybrid cloud comes into the picture. Next question. You plan to deploy several Azure virtual machines. You need to ensure that the services running on the virtual machines are available if a single data center fails. You deploy the virtual machines to two or more availability zones. Deploying to availability zones will actually saves the single failure of single data center failure. So the answer is yes. When VMs are deployed in multi-availability zone mode, it presents the services, both the application and the data that are running on the VM from a single data center failure. This is because the one data center fails, your other availability zone is still available. Hence, loss is prevented in this scenario. You plan to deploy several Azure virtual machines. You need to ensure that the service running on the virtual machines are available if a single data center. So again, similar question. The solution proposed is you deploy the virtual machines to two or more regions. That doesn't make sense. If you spin up the VMs in multiple regions, that is not the answer for data center failure. So availability zone is the correct answer, as we looked into the previous question. So this is say no. All the regions are for the same services. Deploying your VM into one or more, two or more regions doesn't guarantee tolerance to failure. Question number 13, you plan to deploy the Azure virtual machines. Again, it's talking about the same question, but you deploy the virtual machines, two or more scale sets. So scale sets will not answer for single data center failure. So again, if the answer is no, the scale sets are scale sets for auto scaling. So you can scale up, scale out, um, not for single data center failure. So this is a repeated question. Which Azure cloud service benefit would match the following description? A cloud service that can be accessed quickly to the internet. So here we are talking about the performance of the service. So the disaster recovery is unrelated. In this case, fault tolerance is unrelated. Low latency makes sense, which is related to the improving the performance, increasing low latency. Dynamic scalability, that is related to the elasticity. So the related answer is the low latency. So let's also look at some of the definitions before moving into the next question. Disaster recovery, which means gaining access after natural disaster. So it could be earthquake or volcanic eruptions, cyber attacks, or anything. So in case your data center got hacked, you are not functioning as expected, you will still see alternate availability zone. Next one is the fault tolerance. This means the ability of the system to function without any interruption. Even one of its components fails, then this can be achieved, making the loosely coupled of various components of the system. Low latency means the time frame within which the particular object is accessed from the source. In this case, it is internet, right? Therefore, low latency means accessing the object even quicker. The last one is the dynamic scalability. We were talking about the elasticity. So how to scale up, horizontal scaling and vertical scaling comes in this picture. Next question is pretty much similar. A cloud service that remains available after it occurs. After the disaster recovery occurs, the cloud service that remains. So disaster recovery is the option. I think disaster recovery is the correct answer. I think I marked it is fault tolerance. Let's see the definition of the fault tolerance. It is the ability of the system to remain available even when one of the component is failed. I think they are the fault tolerance. So there is a confusion between disaster recovery and the fault tolerance. Make sure that we understand it correctly. This means that the whole system will still functional, so that we can meet the most of the important functions that is intended to. So the fault tolerance is correct here. DR is name implies, it means the system can recover from its backup location. Low latency related to the quicker response, dynamic elasticity related to the scale up and scale out. A cloud service that can be recovered after it occurs. Cloud service that remains available after it occurs. Cloud service that can be recovered after it occurs. So there is a small difference between the previous question and this question. So here it is, the question is the cloud service that remains available, that is the fault tolerance. A cloud service that can be recovered after it occurs. So that is a disaster recovery. So a cloud service that performs quicker when it increases, that is the elasticity we were talking about. So depending on the frequency of the application used, or if it is heavily used, it automatically scales up or scale out. That's the scale, basically scale outs. So that's the dynamic scalability, or also called the auto scale. Which of the following provides a digital online assistant that provides the speech support? So it's a speech service which is actually related to the Azure AI bot. That's the robot, artificial intelligence. So the machine learning is not related to this, and Internet of Things Hub, that is also not related. Azure function, totally different concept. So let's look at the definitions here. Azure AI bot, artificial intelligence bot, is a robot built for the interactions of the users with text and speech. So it actually talking about the speech support. It uses the speech recognition and neural language. It is one of the artificial intelligence service that is provided by the Azure. The question is asking for the Azure service that provide the speech support. So the answer is Azure AI bot. Machine learning basically it predicts based on the forecast and collects all the data. So that's not related. IoT Hub acts as a hub for the communication between the IoT applications and the devices. It collects the data from sensors and the devices, or the devices, and the data is used for analytics and generating reports. IoT Hub doesn't provide the speech support, so that is out of context. Azure function is completely app service, so this is also not related. It's a serverless application in Azure. It helps the user to run small piece of code. So you wrap up that small piece of code as a function and run in the app service. The users can pay for the time for which the functions are running. It also supports all kind of languages like PowerShell, Java, JavaScript, Python, or C Sharp, any of the favorite languages. The next question, several support engineers plan to manage the Azure by using the computers shown here. So computer 1, 2, 3, one is Windows 10, Ubuntu, and third one is the Mac. And the question is on the computer 1, which is the Windows 10. You need to identify which Azure management tool can be used from each computer. So you can use, since it's a Windows, it supports the Azure command line interface, and you can browse the Azure portal from using any browsers, and you can use the Azure PowerShell script on the Windows operating system. So the last answer is correct. All three options, including the PowerShell script softwares, are available to install on the Windows, Mac OS, also Linux environments. And from any browser, you can access the Azure portal. So if you know this statement, it is not easy to answer these questions. So the remaining ones are missing options. For example, Azure CLI, Azure portal. So here the Azure PowerShell is missing. Azure portal and PowerShell. Azure CLI is missing. Here the PowerShell and the CLI, Azure portal is missing. So therefore, all three are possible in Windows 10. In fact, in every operating system. Same question on computer 2, which is running on the Linux operating system. As I mentioned here, Azure CLI, Azure portal, Azure PowerShell. All three are available to install on any of these three operating systems: Windows, Mac OS, Linux, from any browser. So you can use Safari, you can use Internet Explorer, you can use Chrome, Firefox, etc. On the Linux too, also the same question, same question on Ubuntu. Answer should be same. Ubuntu is a distro version of the operating system that that has the Linux kernel as a foundation. Next one is on the Mac OS. Mac OS supports the following Azure management tools: CLI, Portal, and then PowerShell. So the answer is the same. Next question on the availability zones. You plan to deploy a critical line of business application to Azure. Azure application will run on the Azure virtual machine. So looking for the 99.99, I think it's kind of the same question we answered before. So it's 2. Second is the answer. Which Azure service should you use to collect the events from multiple resources into the centralized repository? It's an event hub. It's talking about the events, so it is the event hub. Azure Analysis Service is not for the events. Monitor is different, and the log analytics is different. So you can look at the different definitions. The event hub, there's a big data streaming platform and event investigation services. So it can receive the past millions of events per second. So the requirement here is to correlate events from multiple resources into the centralized repository. Azure Analysis Service, this is used to build the data model. Also, this falls under the PaaS component of the Azure Public Service. So this basically used for combining the data from multiple data sources, define metrics, and secure the data in data model. It also supports various tools for analysis, but this is not used for correlating the event. Uh, Azure Monitor, it's data about the performance and the functionality of the code that I have written. Log Analytics is again used for the Azure integration with the Azure Monitor. Next question is, you plan to extend your company's network to Azure. The network contains VPN application that uses the IP address. You need to create Azure services that identifies the VPN application. So here we are talking about extending the company's network to Azure. So you have on-premise, you are planning to move into the Azure. Now you have the VPN with the IP address. You need to create the Azure resource that identifies the VPN application. So if you know the concept of all these options, then you will be able to choose the right one. So the answer here is at the on-premise, the VPN device is available at the local network gateway. So the local network gateway is the option, and some of them are related to the Azure. For example, let's take a look at the NAT gateway. Is incorrect, as the NAT gateway resources are part of the virtual machines and provide the outbound internet connectivity for one or more subnets of the virtual network. Virtual network gateway. Again, this is represents the Azure Azure side of the VPN device. So this is opposite to the local network gateway. Local network gateway is actually represented at the on-premise side, and virtual network gateway represented at Azure side. And then on-premise data gateway, as it used when wants to connect the resources like the servers, databases from Azure services. Application gateway, again, this is a Azure service um, which is supports the web application firewall and routing the traffic from internet to the websites through the backend pools. backend configuration with the different listeners like HTTP and HTTPS. So it is basically the load balancer acting on layer 7 of the OSI model. Now, Azure Data Box Gateway, Azure Stack Edge, or the Data Box Gateway. So these are all unrelated here. Web application firewall WAF is also again part of the web application gateway. So good to know the definitions of all these services so that we'll be able to pick the right one here. Next one, the Azure administrator plans to run the PowerShell script to create Azure resources. You need to recommend which computer configuration to use to run the script. Run the script from the computer that runs Linux and has the Azure CLI tool. So we were talking about running the PowerShell script. Runs the script from the computer that runs Linux and the CLI tool installed. So we can't run the PowerShell script if the Linux has the Azure CLI. So that is no. The user can run the PowerShell script on Linux operating system, but the question says it has only Azure CLI tools already installed. So therefore the answer is no. You need the PowerShell scripts installed. You can before you start running PowerShell script. Your company has Azure environment that contains resources in several regions. A company policy states that the administrator must only be allowed to create additional Azure resources in the region, in the country where their office is located. So you need to create Azure resources that must be used to meet the policy requirements. Talking about the Azure policy, making sure that the Azure administrator must only be allowed to create. So you need to define the policy in the Azure to restrict this. So the policy, Azure policy is the right answer. Read-only logs, that is altering the resources, management groups for collection of subscriptions, and the reservations and reserving your Azure services. So those are unrelated options. So you can look into these definitions for more information. Your company plans to migrate all its data and resources to the Azure company migration plan states that the only PaaS service will be used. So create Azure App Service, Azure SQL Server, those two are PaaS, so the answer is yes. The company plans to deploy several web applications and several database servers to the Azure. You need to recommend the Azure solution to limit the number of connections from the web service. So here we were talking about the firewalls restriction and the connections. Um, Network security group will help for that. That's the right answer here. The service bus basically connecting from the websites to the services. So that's not uh, limiting the type of connections. Local network gateway, we talked about this is something represents the on-premise VPN device, not related to limit the number of connections here. Route filter is set of rules defines the traffic. So that's not related to this. Next question, which of the options match the following description? An organization that defines the international standards across all the industries. That is the NIST is the correct answer here. International standards across all the industries. We were not talking about only US. So okay, so I'm not correct. So that's the ISO. Let's look at the definition. International Organization for Standardization is organization that defines the international standards across all the industries. Okay, that's the correct one. Let's also look at what is the Azure government. delivers the dedicated cloud enabling only US government agencies and their partners. So this is kind of a restricted zone. In order to provide you with the highest level of security and compliance, the government, Azure government uses the physical isolated data centers for. So this is for US government, especially ISO we looked at. Next is the National Institute of Standards Technology. It's a physical science laboratory and non-regulatory agency of the United States Department of Commerce. It's a mission to promote the innovations and industrial competitiveness. NIST activities are organized into laboratory programs and so on. So GDPR, like European citizens, this is especially European citizens, is a new set of rules designed for EU citizens, more control over their personal data. So if we know the definition of US government, ISO, NIST, and GDPR, we will be able to answer these questions. Pretty much the same. An organization that defines the standards used by the United States government. So standards used by United States government is the NIST, European policies that regulates the data privacy and protects their citizens. That's GDPR. Dedicated public cloud for federal and state agencies, that is closed Azure government. This is kind of true false question. For the following statements, select yes if the statement is true. So North America is represented by a single Azure region. That's not true. There are a lot of Azure regions on the North America. So answer is no. So North America is the continent that represents. So you have a lot of state countries like Canada, Mexico, and United States of America. Within United States of America, you will see different regions in West and US. West US 1, West US 2, West US 3, East US Central again, North Central, South Central, etc. So Canada also has multiple regions. So the answer is no. For the following statement, select this again true false question. Every Azure region has multiple data centers. Yes, that's true. Data transfers between Azure services located in different regions are always free. No, that's not true. So the data transferred from one region to another region will be charged for especially the outgoing. For the same region service, if the data located in different regions, Azure charges the users for outbound data transfer, and therefore it's not available for free. Dash provides the platform for the serverless code. Straight away the Azure functions. So I don't see the logic app. So but logic app and Azure functions, these are the serverless code. Rest are unrelated. So if you want to know more definitions on what is Azure Databricks, app services, application insights, an Azure virtual machine can be multiple resource groups. One virtual machine cannot be in a multiple resource groups. Answer is no. You have an on-premise application that sends the email notification automatically based on the rule. Now we are migrating that into Azure. So you should be using the Logic App. If you know the definition of the Logic App, it's related to the workflow system. We are actually talking about sending emails automatically, which is related to the workflow. The answer is Logic App. You can also look at the definitions for serverless computing and the API web apps. Which of the following services use the past training to provide the prediction? So again, you will feed the history and predicting. That is the job for the Azure machine learning. So option is A. Azure Sentinel stores the collected date events in the Azure storage account. It's not Azure storage account, it's the workspace, log analytics workspace. Azure Sentinel can remediate incidents automatically. That's true.